Years ago, I made a video showing how PlayStation content is displayed on a PlayStation Portable 2000 when using its native video output feature with component video and comparing it to a real PlayStation via RGB SCART. I used both progressive and interlaced video modes against real PlayStation hardware. I even took it one step further by looking exclusively at the high-res PlayStation titles and seeing how the output changed between progressive and interlaced modes. I will be doing the same test between the two platforms using a mixture of interlaced and progressive modes for the PlayStation Portable. Both consoles will be using the OSSC at line 5X for 240p or 288p content. For interlaced video output, the PlayStation Portable will be in progressive mode and line doubled to 960p, whereas the PlayStation will be using 480i native and deinterlaced via OBS. Let's get into it. We begin with Jarrett and Labonte Stock Car Racing, also known as Taco World Touring Cars. I love this game, and being able to take it with me on the PlayStation Portable is a great feature of the device. I usually show off the 16:9 mode, but I'll be using 4:3 on this occasion. Looking at the video output using interlaced mode, this game looks pretty good. In fact, I used the PlayStation Portable footage when I reviewed the game many years ago. It is a little blurry, but nothing awful, and it looks okay on a 4K display. The PlayStation footage shows even sharper results, and this would be handy to play on a HD panel, especially thanks to the OSSC's Line 5X mode. Side by side, the details that are a bit blurred on PlayStation Portable are cleaned up and easier to discern on PlayStation. I'm impressed with how well the PlayStation Portable does with the video output. Not bad at all. Driver 2 is next, and most of what I described holds true in this game. The output is 240p for this NTSC version, and the PlayStation Portable is slightly blurry as a result. I still enjoyed the experience of playing this title on my 4K display. The PlayStation is naturally even sharper and nicer to look at. I also noticed the game was brighter too, making it less dull compared to the PlayStation Portable output. You can of course make it brighter at the cost of making the image washed out. Still, a nice result for the PlayStation Portable. Soul Edge, or Soul Blade for Western versions, is one of my favourite fighting games on PlayStation. Taking a look at the two platforms, the difference is not the same as the other games shown so far. The PlayStation is sharper as we expect, but not by much here. Perhaps the game is running at a slightly different resolution compared to the featured games so far? Whatever the case, the PlayStation Portable holds up a bit better in this title. Ghost in the Shell changes the narrative because this time the PlayStation Portable is noticeably blurrier than normal. On its own merit, the image is acceptable enough and is still fun to play on a 4K display or a HD one. The PlayStation footage though is very sharp by comparison. The two couldn't be more different as you see here. Just amazing how one game can change everything. Soul Edge had the two strikingly close, but here, the PlayStation is leagues ahead in its video output. Let's change gears and look at Tekken 3. This runs in the PlayStation's high-res mode, aka 480i or 576i for PAL versions. The PlayStation Portable is using progressive mode, which enables 480p or 576p output. I line doubled this to 960p thanks to the OSSC. The PlayStation runs at 480i native. The PlayStation Portable has a very interesting look. It is smooth looking and the way it's deinterlaced is very compelling. I think this little hack works great for games using 480i output. The PlayStation is still sharp despite only using 480i natively, but it does look a bit messy, and although the OSSC can use the Line 4X function, I just prefer the PlayStation Portable output when using progressive mode. Alright, I tested more games, so I want you folks to see how the two platforms compare with the video output, along with listening to the audio quality to see which of the two sound best. I'll see you at the end.
Unit 1, you are free to use firearms. Fire at your discretion.
He threw a suitcase out of the car. Note the location for later retrieval. He threw a suitcase out of the car. Note the location for later retrieval. Now, go back, get the suitcase. That's important evidence. Ready? Fight!
Round 2, fight!
The two platforms certainly had interesting results, wouldn't you say? Naturally, if you use RGB SCART or even S-video cables for the PlayStation, the video output would triumph the PlayStation Portable. The PlayStation Portable needed component cables, and because of many factors such as mismatched resolution between screen and video output, and of course a bilinear filter which I cannot disable on PlayStation Portable, the handheld is pegged back in overall video output quality. In today's content fares better on PlayStation Portable when outputting in progressive mode, and these games I feel look better with their smoother appearance. I will say, had I owned an upscaler with true motion adaptive deinterlacing, the PlayStation would be well ahead. I still love what the PlayStation Portable can do with its video output, even if it falls behind in sharpness. You folks let me know, what were your thoughts on the results? Would you output PlayStation games on a PlayStation Portable? Tell me in the comments, and unfortunately folks, this concludes Affro's Curiosities Season 7. Honestly, thank you for supporting me once again, and I really do hope this season was a big improvement over Season 6 and before. Until next time, I will see you soon.